Today we are learning about if and else. If is a control flow statement. بنسميها control flow statement because it controls how the code can flow actually. What does this mean? In all the codes that we have done so far, every time we run the code, it generates the same output. هلا when we introduce the scanner بلش شوي يتغير معنا ال output صار it depends على the name that we have scanned or the age that we have scanned. معقول نشوف a different statement بس in terms of flow it's always the same flow. With if and else, the first type of control flow statement that we're gonna learn, راح نشوف كيف using if and else نقدر يصير عندنا different flows. يعني our code can go into different possibilities. هلا you're seeing a code in front of me that says how old are you, and it scans the age of the user as an integer. I'm gonna show you how using if and else I can continue this flow to decide if the user can drive the car or not. Before I introduce the else, I'm just gonna focus now on the if. So راح اكتب if age is less than 18. I'm gonna open braces and I'm gonna type system.out.println you cannot drive a car, and that's because the user is below 18 of age. إذا بتلاحظوا شوي كيف الستراكشر تبع الإف، أول شيء بنكتب if, then we open parentheses, we always open parentheses, and we write a boolean statement inside these parentheses. شو يعني boolean statement؟ يعني a statement that results into true or false. اللي هي basically لأكتب boolean statement لازم أكون عم بستعمل يا comparison يا equality test operators بالمبدأ. Okay, مثلا age is less than 18, age is equal to 18, not equal to 18, such stuff. يا equality يا comparison operators ده أقدر أطلع ب a boolean statement that generates يا true يا false. So هون بكون قلت as the age is below 18 you cannot drive a car. بفتح braces وبرجع بسكر البريسز وبتوين these opening and closing braces I write the then statement. هيدا بنقلها then statement. أنا هون عم بكتب a comment. هيدا بنقلها then statement because it tells us what happens if the condition is true. يعني if age is less than 18 then print you cannot drive a car. هلا رح أحط another condition. رح أقول if age is greater or equal to 18 then system.out.print. I'm gonna copy this from here and I'm gonna say you can instead of you cannot. So now if I run the code and it's gonna ask me how old are you, and I enter that I'm 17, it's gonna tell me you cannot drive a car because this is the condition that checks as I'm less than 18, it prints you cannot drive a car. But if I write 20, then it's gonna say you can drive a car. So this is how we see that these conditions are mutually exclusive. So it's either it prints you cannot drive a car or you can drive a car. Because these conditions are mutually exclusive, yani there's no way that I be less than 18 and 18 or greater at the same time. There's no way that I satisfy both conditions. Because they are mutually exclusive, I can replace this with an else. So بدل ما أقول if age is greater or equal to 18 بقول simply else. So this is gonna lead to the same result. At 17 you cannot drive a car, at 20 you can drive a car, وكمان إذا بحط 18 كمان you can drive a car. ليش؟ لأنه لما بقول else this is the negation of the condition of the first condition يلي هي للإف. يعني هي completely عكس less than 18. What else the negation of less than 18? It's not greater than 18 only, it's greater or equal to 18. طيب, now what about the braces that I'm opening next to the if and else? Do I need these braces? The answer is it depends. If I have one statement only with then I don't need these braces. I can write it like this, and it's gonna still work the same. As a ball 17, you cannot drive a car. Was a ball 20, you can drive a car. كمان else أنا I can remove its braces كمان ما بتفرق. ليش؟ لأنه the then part is made of only one statement. So I have few things to tell you. The first thing is that you have to pay attention that the whole thing is called if-then statement. هيدي كلها اسمها if-then statement. ما في شيء اسمه if statement و then statement لحالها. هيدي كلها اسمها if-then statement. And this is why نحن ما بنحط semicolon next to the if. We don't put a semicolon here. If you put a semicolon here, then if والthen تبعيتها بيصيروا separate والthen بيصير يعتبر انه هو it's empty. There's no then part. So I have to put the semicolon at the end of the statement. ونفس الشيء للelse. طيب, then why would I need braces? ليه كتبنا أول شيء braces? So braces are not mandatory if you have one statement only. You can put them, you cannot put them مثل ما بتكون. But if you have more than one statement, then you are forced to write them. I will give you an example. هون إذا بيجي بكتب now system.out.println, you can begin your driving test now. If I run this code وبقول له that I am 17 years of age, it's gonna tell me you cannot drive a car or you can begin your driving test now, which is not logical. There's no way that I cannot drive a car and I can begin the driving test now. So this statement belongs to the else, yani the case where I can drive a car only. So what I should have done is put braces before the two then statements and after the two then statements. In that case, this tells the interpreter or the computer that both of these statements, they belong to the else. Without the second braces, without the braces actually, it would have thought that the second statement is not part of the else and it would have printed it anyways. Yani whether I can drive a car or I cannot drive the car, it would have told me you can begin your driving test now بكل الحالات. وأنا ما بدي إياها بكل الحالات to print that statement. I only wanted to print it in case I can actually drive a car. So let's see now if I run that code again and I tell it I'm 17 years old, it's only gonna tell me you cannot drive a car. You can begin your driving test now will not be printed. But إذا I'm 20 years of age, then it's gonna print both these statements. So بالelse لما يكون عندي more than one statement إجباري حط two braces أحسن ما the other statements بعد الأول statement يفكرون إنه they don't belong to the else. Now we're gonna see a different case where if I add another statement to the if without adding braces, look what will happen. As بقول you have to come back when you are 18 years old. Look what's gonna happen now. It's not only gonna print it regardless of the case. لا, that's different. It's gonna signal an error. يعني لما زدنا نحن another statement without braces للelse, الفرق انه صارت تتباع بكل الحالات whether it is whether I am less than 18 أو لا. بس بهذا الكيس عندي error. Why do I have an error here? This is because this statement هون صارت an intruder between the if and else. يعني ال if صارت بتخلص هون, that's the if, and the else starts here. So this statement is standing in between, not allowing the else to know that it follows an if. So إذا بنجي نطلع هون بتقلنا else should be deleted, ما خصها, ما جاية after an if. بس لو كان عندي braces enclosing the two statements كان بيمشي حال ال else. Now we see that الإف تخلص هون, الإلس دغري بتبلش من بعضها وبتخلص هون, and the code now is clean and clear. طيب, what if I wanted to check specifically if the user is exactly 18 years old? حتى أقول له a special statement like that's awesome, you can now drive a car. هلا صار عمره 18. So what I can do is add a third check. So else هون ما بقى فيها تكون else in general لأنه else includes both cases اللي هن greater و equal. So I want to check if age is equal 18 or let's keep it greater than 18. I say this. I add a third else or a second else اللي هي a third condition. هيدا الكيس إذا منه less than 18 ومنه greater than 18, what would it be? ما بقى عندها option إلا تكون exactly 18. So in this case, I say system.out.println, you can now drive a car. اوكي فينا نحط لها that's awesome بالأول. can now drive a car. هلا صار بيقدر يسوق سيارة قبل ما كان بيقدر. So I'm missing a semicolon at the end and now my code is complete. It's very important that you notice إنه ما بقدر أحط else مع condition بلا if. يعني I cannot write this code. Else never takes a condition. if takes a condition. So فينا أقول else if. So هون basically شو صار عم بيصير؟ صار هيدا الاف والelse تبعيتها هي كل هيدا الكود. بس هيدا الكود كمان is split into two. هيدا فيه if وفيه else. So أول برانش عملناها if else، من تاني برانش تبع ال else عملنا two branches كمان if else. So now when I run this code بقول 18 بقول لي that's awesome you can now drive a car. As a 20 بقول لي you can drive a car, you can begin your driving test now. As a 17 بقول لي you cannot drive a car, you have to come back when you are 18 years old. So this is how I covered all cases. Now I want you to use what you learned to apply it to the exercise we did previously, where you asked the user about their name and age, and you told them a day they are older than you. Now you have to cater for all the cases, whether they are older than you, younger than you, out of your age.